Your highest value is as close of an approximation as I can create based on the behavior that you emit in your imbalanced and delusional existence. It's the closest approximation to your mission as I can get you, because your mission will only ever emerge when you collapse time and space. When you collapse time and space in your mind, the world dissolves. Functionally, that's the limit of our bandwidth of our sensory perceptions. So I'm going to make the statement that reality is that which has been perceived by the senses and filtered by essentially the midbrain. Okay? And so the actuality is far grander than any one of us can perceive. Is that fair to say? Like, what's out there is incomplete. What's in here is incomplete compared to what's out there. Okay. So, we've had 3.5 billion years of evolution. And basically, those 3.5 billion years were practice for this form to emerge so that we can attenuate to a higher mind and live a human existence. So now we have a human being. And the human being is basically an animal, because we've spent 3.5 billion years being groomed into being an animal, with this tiny little telecephalon connecting us to a brain that nobody understands, or a consciousness, or a second mind. Most individuals walk around thinking that the conscious I, the I they have inside their head, the I that they identify with, is one brain. And so the first point of clarity that I'm going to introduce is that because you have two brains, and you can't tell which one you're operating by, generally, life can be very confusing. Especially when we begin to apply this work. Because the question is going to be, from what brain am I operating? Which brain is governing which? That's the question. And so functionally, what you will see happen, what you can see in your reality around you and likely within you, is that your lower mind will automatically test the fucking shit out of your higher mind. The lower mind's job is to test the higher mind. And the higher mind's job is to learn to govern the lower mind. Okay? And I'm using the word govern because the word government is actually a function of learning to govern one's own mind. That's what government's etymological roots are. So for those individuals who have government of themselves, those individuals who govern their own lower-minded animal behaviors will rise and transcend authority. Those individuals who do not take responsibility for governing their lower-minded impulses and instincts will automatically demand external government, and will require control systems, and will require feedback from their external world in order to constrain their generally erratic and volatile behaviors. Okay? So the first statement is that your lower mind, until it's consciously governed by you, until you choose to apply some kind of framework that works for you to take responsibility of governing the lower mind, not repressing, governing, someone else will govern you for you. Okay? So the first statement is, until you empower your life, someone else will run your life. Can everybody see that? And that's a generic statement. But until you begin to master every area of your life, you will automatically attract someone to overpower you in that area that you are disempowered in. Can everybody see that? If you're perceived disempowered financially, then sharks show up and they take your money. Or people show up and you donate your money to them. Or the universe will create circumstances on unexpected bills to take your money from you. Okay? Until you learn to manage your health, the universe will create circumstances and opportunities for your body to be infected by diseases and be exposed to conditions that will require you to ultimately either take care of your health or die much sooner than you would expect, right? Until you take responsibility for governing your relationships and your familial intimacy, your wife will likely govern you. Can everybody see that? So as long as you remain disempowered in any one or many areas of life, you will automatically attract a government system, a bully, an attacker, some outside force to create in you enough resentment and pain for you to wake the fuck up and do something about it. That's how the universe works. Okay? Can everybody see that in some area of your life where you've been disempowered, you've attracted an authority, and you didn't like it? And you're thinking, why the fuck do I need you? You'll see on this piece of paper that I've written the lower mind above the higher mind as it relates to this sphere. I'm going to draw a different picture. I'm going to show you the old picture, and then I'm going to show you why I put it in this context here, okay? So the human being is made up of essentially 8 components. I'm not going to draw them all, but I'd just like you to imagine for a second that you have a refractory beam, which we could call a light spark. You have your soul. This terminates in a higher mind. We have a lower life spark. It's terminating in a lower mind. We have a lower astral body and a physical body. This is like the template for the physical body. Like the body materializes apparently according to a plan. The lower astral body is kind of like the plan that emerges before the physical body, the electromagnetic field. You do those weird diagrams, cut a leaf in half, then you take a picture, the energy of the leaf is still there. That's this. Yeah, that. And then there's a Q-scab, quantum spiritual astral body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good, I got it. Okay, so this is the structure, okay? This is like the structure of the body, okay? Think of it like a hologram. The reason we have a 3D existence is essentially because cosmologically, 2 beams of light are emerging. They connect your telencephalon, which is really connected to a sphere, and that whole ethereal existence is out there. But then we have this experience of a lower-minded body down here. There's a bit of a line here. So functionally, this is how it works. So this is why I'm saying the higher mind's job is to tame the lower mind. Okay, and until then, the lower mind will run the higher mind's existence. Most people spend their entire lives being governed by their animal instincts and impulses. They never engage their higher mind. They never engage in internal government. They're always managed by outside forces. They're always managed by feedback systems. This is just how it works. However, there's a function in place. I told you that the lower mind is an animal, and so therefore, it has an impulse and a preference towards positive and an avoidance to pain. That's the animal nature, okay? Another way to say that is if the universe is love and light, and in order for experience to occur, we have to separate photons into relatively separated space and time. That is happening in the lower mind. The lower mind is what's naming the ineffables, separating the inseparables, and creating space and time. Our experience of life, what we call life, this life that happens through time and space, is the result of our perceptions, our material perceptions, separating essentially entangled particles and creating a perception of whatever the fuck this is out here, okay? The higher mind is not related to that. The higher mind is very patiently with its intuition. Intuition lives in the higher mind. Impulse and instinct live in the lower mind. Okay? The higher mind, with its intuition, is trying to bring what is separate back together. So we have 2 opposing forces. We have a lower mind, which is attempting to separate the inseparables, and we have a higher mind attempting to put the pieces back together again. Okay? So your higher mind is attempting to work towards an equilibrative function. It's attempting to take what it knows is incomplete. When it knows a perception is incomplete, your intuition is automatically trying to awaken you to the incomplete nature so that you can bring those perceptions back together. The lower mind is separating them all the time. Okay? So in order to create a universe with ever-transforming experiences, we have a sum total collection of human lower minds working together to produce a reality, okay? The sum total of human mind can be called an axiosphere, which I believe was a term coined by, I don't know, we can look it up. But the axiosphere would be the sum total of all human perception, right? The internet is like the technological expression of the axiosphere. All human knowledge and wisdom as it relates to the outside world existing in a way that we can access it at any time. It's a technological representation of a field of knowledge and wisdom that already exists. So let's play this through. The lower mind has a perception of pleasure or pain, which by definition is ignorant because we never have one without the other. We have that perception of pleasure and pain. It splits time and space apart. In order to have that perception of pleasure, let's say we ignore the pain. Fine, we create a charge. Those charges are now running us. That's what I mean when I say the lower mind is running the higher mind until the higher mind learns to tame it. Okay? The lower mind has an imbalanced perception as a result of its senses, separates space and time, ignores one half of the equation in order to live in an identity that they receive pleasure, let's say, greater benefits than drawbacks. Or the opposite, greater drawbacks than benefits. Does that make sense? The lower mind has created those perceptions. Those perceptions are stored in the mind and body until they've been reintegrated again. So that's where I've told you that we have 4 levels of intuition. We separate the inseparables, and we automatically begin to attract feedback. It's a magnetic property, okay? So I've separated my perceptions. I've created a perception of, let's say, greater benefits than drawbacks on that one perception, whatever that perception may be. It might be you walking down the street, you see a woman get a hard-on. That's a perception. An imbalanced one, because you associated greater pleasure than pain. Can everybody see that?
Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress?
I was...
Look again.
However, the perception still exists. We have to be ignorant of the opposite in order to create this. The higher mind is automatically, at this point, going to leverage every system to its capacity to now balance this perception out for you. It wants to reintegrate these broken pieces. So we have 4 levels of intuition. Our physiology automatically starts exhibiting symptoms. Automatically. The minute you have an imbalanced perception, your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems displace each other according to that perception. So you may have an excess or a deficiency countered by a deficiency or an excess, depending on which system you've pushed out of balance, okay? We also begin immediately to have a psychological question. A psychological questioning. This is, it's too good to be true, or there must be a silver lining. Your mind is automatically thinking there must be something I'm missing here. Can everybody see that? I've had moments like that. If you don't listen to your physiology or your psychology, your sociology will also step in. Okay? Your sociology are the friends and the family that you surround yourself with. And they will start to give you feedback. They will say things to you you likely don't want to hear. They'll try to cheer you up if you're down. They'll try to fucking humble you if you're too high and mighty, right? But your sociology comes into play, and they start basically giving you unsolicited feedback, advice, and telling you how you should live your life, which oftentimes is rejected because we think, go fuck yourself, I'm my own person. But functionally, they're playing a role for you. They're bringing into language and into words and into form the information you're missing. And if you fail to listen to all those 3 levels, basically theology kicks on, which is just a way to describe Murphy's Law, which is just systems outside our perception of order equilibrate you for you. So a relationship to our universe causes a number of factors to come together to trigger some devastatingly balancing result. Okay, this is like the person who's really fucking out there, super fucking charged, and ends up getting in an accident with her kids and kills all her kids. Okay, that's when crazy shit happens. In this model, that's what happens when you have a charge, okay? Now let's say you apply the DeMartini method, or you've learned the high quality questions that I'm going to provide you with this weekend, which are basically weightlifting exercises for your intuition. I'm telling you that your intuition is always, always, always trying to integrate. Always, always, always trying to integrate. However, your intuition is not necessarily equipped with language to do it as effectively and efficiently as you could if you were to do it consciously. Okay? So I'm not saying you have to do the DeMartini method, or you have to do my work, or you need to subscribe to this belief system in order to go out there and be evolving. That's not what I'm saying. You're going to evolve no matter what. You're going to equilibrate no matter what. You're going to have blinding moments of insight no matter what. You're going to have moments of love and gratitude no matter what. The universe is designed for that. However, if you train your intuition with high quality questions, which is all the DeMartini method is 54 fucking high quality questions designed to move your mind towards integration as opposed to separation, we can give our intuition tools to move more quickly and efficiently towards integration. Does that make sense?